If you want Luka Doncic, you're gonna have to fucking trade AD. It's just how it's. It's. They're not letting you fucking get away with some second round picks. This is the Imperial Skulls and Honor podcast. I am Josh Folan.
And I am Jay Baxtron.
And we are going to be bullshitting about the formative years of console gaming as we revisit the protocols that covered it again. We are sporadically popping back into an RPG side quest with this pod, where we incrementally fiddle with an old school RPG, start to finish, with the assistance of vintage game literature. The quest we find ourselves occasionally in the midst of is Sega's 1990 release of Phantasy Star 2 on the SEGA Genesis. The accompanying literatures of antiquity for us on this undertaking are the 52-page pack-in instruction manual and the official Phantasy Star 2 hint book, a 114-page tome, also published by Sega around the time of the game's release stateside.
It is a tome, for sure.
It is fucking... We're like 2/3 of the way through it, though. That's exciting. Yeah. The link to a PDF of those notes, along with some accompanying packing materials, maps, charts, etc., will be in the show notes for the duration of the quest. You may have noticed that in the opening roll call, that we are down one adventure. May the RPG gods bless Jab's brave soul and honor him for the quests he conquered in his time. I will always think of him as he surely perished, standing at one of those damn mainframes, stubbornly unwilling to engage the technology that lay before him, despite the fact it assuredly will be an improvement upon his life, like the true Luddite hero he was, as an onslaught of robots overran him. A short moment of silence for that. Emulation disclosure. So you know the tools with which we are undertaking our quest to defeat yet another archfiend. Jay, how are you rocking this biatch?
Playing with the 6-button SEGA Genesis controller piped into my computer via USB. Emulating it, just standard PC on Kega Fusion.
Word. My Abernathy 351MP handheld emulator continues to be the manner in which I partake in this sort of endeavor. Please rate and review the pod. Wherever you listen, if you enjoy our shit, it helps us quest. Where we left off, when I fired this thing back up, I was standing outside the central tower in Paseo, and I had actually listened to our last episode in preparation, because I had no fucking clue how to get back into playing this after such a long sabbatical otherwise. So I knew the first thing that we'd have to do was finding replacement, and that meant heading over to Todd's pad to rouse the couch crashers and make some tough choices. But as soon as I walked in, there was a knock at the door. And that knock was the thief our literature of antiquity foretold we will be rounding out our available adventure roster with. But my misogyny-saturated 80s Midwestern upbringing did not prepare me to have any expectation that the thief would be a cute green-haired girl aggressively hitting on me right from the jump, which is what she's doing. She says, "Hello, Todd. You are just as handsome as they say. I am sheer gold. I am a thief. I care little for peace and justice. I steal for fun. And frankly, I think your little outing will be packed with thrills for me. I think I'd like to go with you. Remember, I'm sheer of the wind. Nothing can catch me. Do you want me to come with you? What, you want to give me a new name?" And I'm kind of standing there, stammering a little bit. And, I will call you Sharon, as in Sharon Stone from Basic Instinct, because you are a very intimidating young woman.
That's awesome.
So I say yes to her renaming question, and I'm pretty sure in response to that, she told me to go fuck myself. She says, like, when you select yes, and instead of going to a name thing like all the other ones have done, she says in response, "I'm sheer of the wind because wind is all that I have. Excuse me." And then you just can't change your name.
Why even give that option? What is that?
Well, because it's fucking good storytelling, dude. So she's bossy. and she's damaged, and she's attractive, so basically my, and Shirley Todd's by proxy, kryptonite, making her basically entrenched as a starter on the Todd squad moving forward. So, yeah, so she just slid right in there.
Wow, look at that. That's all it took. I should have known. I should have known from history this is going to happen, but I didn't pay that much attention to her because I was kind of just like, I need strength. Who's going to be strong? I did not take that approach, but I like it. I like it, though. I like that.
Yeah. I didn't even hesitate after that opening. And I would quickly notice. So I couldn't change her name. I was going to name her Sharon, right? And when I go to the menu, I realized that Sheer, which is what her shorthand ends up being in the menu, it doesn't look terribly far from Sharon. So I can kind of make believe in my own little mind. Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, and her dossier bio reads, although well-to-do, she enjoys the thrill of stealing. So, yeah, again, just damaged. No reason to be living the life she's living. She's just fucking, just a total fucking, shit disturber, which is, great. So, yeah, it just seemed too much fun not to bring her.
I mean, I could see that. See, you actually came into that, looking at her as, a brand new, person. Me, I hadn't been back to the house in so long that, the next person that I saw was Anna. So I was like, oh, who's this Anna person?
And then
the knock on the door came, and then it was Kay, and then I was like, oh, there's another person. And so then I left, and then I did something else, leveled up a little bit, and then came back, and then it was like, there's another person. I had my notes prepared, I have 6 people to choose from. And then I came back again later for something random. I was like, it was only then that I came upon another person. But
so I can't believe you didn't think to exhaust. Yeah, when that happened, that same thing happened to me, I think, for the last episode. And I guess maybe I'd be surprised if I didn't talk about it, but it's been fucking 7 months or something. So whatever, even if I did, maybe whatever. So, but yeah, that happened to me for the last episode where I hadn't been back there in forever, and it happened, and I was like, maybe I should try that again just to make sure there's not more. Cause I did a quick in and out thing too to get a bunch at once. So yeah, I feel that. I was with her. It seemed like so much fun, and I was like, well, even though a thief, I have my recent Final Fantasy thief endeavor for thieves, and that was a fucking nightmare in its own way. So I'm kind of battle scarred on the thief idea, but because of that intro and the emotional response to it, I was kind of like, I'm going to at least try it, and I'll adjust later if need be. And those are the famous last words of every dude thinking with his little head. So, and the really interesting thing, I don't know if you noticed this, but they force you to reshuffle the deck here. When you come out of the tower, all your characters are gone. You can't just go back out without Nya and whoever the hell the other two you had, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which is really fucking interesting. That definitely has not happened prior to this. So that, again, I talked a lot last time, I think, about kind of thinking I could see it coming that the whole, not the whole, it's a storytelling thing too, but a big part of this taking Nya away and how much she contributed to both the offensive and the buff healing side of your party dynamic. This was very much a mechanical choice to force you into making tough choices. I talked about that a bunch, I think. So I think just the simple fact that they did that took them all away, and they're like, okay, you got to start from a clean slate now. How are you going to do it? You know what I mean? Is a very deliberate choice that I think is it's cool. I think it was a cool device to make you really reevaluate how you want to build this going forward. You know what I mean? And that was cool. I really thought that was cool.
So how deep did you go then? Because I looked at it kind of okay, Jay's already level 16. I'm going to keep my level 16, 14 people that I have, and then just slot somebody in. I'm not.
I had faith that would balance itself out, actually. So that wasn't a worry of mine at all. Okay. So yeah, I just built what I thought would be good, or how I wanted to structure this, kind of knowing what they all brought to the group. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I can see that.
And actually, another cool thing about this. If you go to your, again, I'm just I come out of the tower, I'm just kind of going through the menus and just taking stock of what the situation is. And if you go to your strength menu where you see your whole roster, Nya is still there.
Yeah, why is that? That's so weird. I'm
Right.
like, can I just try? But like, obviously, it doesn't work.
Yeah,
So.
I don't know, just like keeping her dossier as a memento, or I don't know. Yeah, it's an interesting design choice, also, which. You know, it could always just be like, fucking, no one's paying attention. You know, on the development side, that's always a possibility with a fucking game from 1991. But I also kind of I want to think that that's deliberate and maybe even suggestive of we're not done with Neh.
That would. I thought that too. I'm like, that would be cool.
Yeah. I think there's got to be that she's coming back in the picture for sure. Is my prediction.
See, I thought that as well, but then like I would think something like the Nace shot or the Nace slasher or something that you see like upcoming weapons,
right? Exactly,
would be like for her, but they're not. So it's like, all right, we'll see.
Oh, are they not?
No,
are they not? I didn't think to look at that in the thing. Oh, really? Well, that's interesting. Yeah, that's interesting.
Because when I was also looking at the character selection process, I'm thinking obviously, you know, Jay is going to be who he is, but then like my gun guy, Dean Rudo, like he's the only one that has a gun. So like I like that aspect. Like I like keeping him there. So I was kind of looking at like who else can hold what other weapons. But like there was no future name stuff, choice. So it had me kind of sad.
Okay. Well, let's finish out fucking talking about this last class here, this last thief thing, and then we can get into what we actually chose party wide. So looking at the technique chart, she's able to use most of the like Foy, Zon, and Gra attack magics. That's the fire, implosion, and gravity families. And all 3 levels of Zan Gra. And then she's missing that sweet Nafoy banger in the fire family, the highest level one that the agent has. And then she starts with Foy from the jump, the base level fire one. So all you can do otherwise all she can do otherwise is the first 2 healing techs, Res and Jai-Res. And she's the only, this is really interesting and was another thing, a big deciding factor for me actually, is she's the only other character other than Todd, or the agent, that can swing the outside and return spells, Hinnis and Ryuka. So those take up a lot of MP, and you're always worried about not having those if you run out, or I am anyways. I don't know, I guess I shouldn't speak for you, but that's always a constant thought for me when I'm in the dungeons and shit, is I can't burn all his MP, because I need to be able to do that Hinnis Ryuka loop at the end to get me back to fucking safety, right? So having her in there, and kind of like dedicating her magic, or the end of her magic, to that, allows me to use the agent magic as I see fit, particularly the aforementioned Nafoy banger. So, like, that was a big deciding factor to me, too, is that she could do that one really important thing and no one else can. You know what I mean?
Interesting.
So that's cool.
That is
that's cool.
Okay. That's fascinating. I got several points to make about that, but that is fascinating.
Okay. And as far as weapons go, she can only roll with knives. So it was dual laser knives. Here we come for her. And she's got some spotty armor options. She can use the fencing shields, the enamels, gear and crown helms, and then boots and capes. And she comes, the starter pack for her is a dagger, the carbon suit, and then plain old shoes. Okay, so yeah, I mean, sounds like Sheer was too intimidating for you guys, or for you rather. But other than that, what did you end up going with?
Well, yeah, I kind of looked at her thinking, okay, she's more like, she's a thief. Like, and I guess just me, RPGs in general, I'm like, unless there's some like real story aspect to like having a thief, like I'm just never going to choose a thief. Like I need power or healing or shielding or something. Give me something tangible that I know I can deal with in battle. So I kept, obviously my agent, and then Rudo, gun boss. And then I went with Anna, who I renamed Frost because she reminded me of like Emma Frost from the X-Men, 90s X-Men. So I have her.
Can you go in and rename, or did she was one of the people that came?
No, I renamed her, and it was kind of, and I never normally rename, but like she just looked like she got
right.
like
but what I'm saying is was she one of the new ones for you, or are you able to go back and rename as you see fit?
She was new to me. Like I said, I hadn't been back in a while, so I think the last person I saw was Hugh the last time I was at my house.
Okay.
So
the biologist.
Yep. So I named her, added her in, and then I was on the fence about keeping Amy and between Amy and Kane, the Wrecker, because I later found out reading the description about him that his stuff is very, very much focused on robots. And now that everybody's a freaking robot, it's like that seems logical choice.
But did you know that when you were first starting? I didn't.
No,
so I didn't.
That was the thing. I didn't find that
later.
I didn't find out about that until later, reading the hint book, right, or the guide, something like that. And I was kind of like, oh, maybe I should go back. Maybe I should swap Amy out because often she's doing low damage, but then every now and then she's still doing high damage with how I have her. So it's kind of like. Plus, she's the only one that has that healing that I still use. And so, like, rather than focusing and using only the trimates, which I did stock up on those heavily on every single dam.
I started using those in this episode,
I, at the same time, still have G-Res, so I could easily just heal everybody for 60 at a pop. It only takes me 7 MP with her. So it's kind of like, yeah, she's a no-brainer to keep. So right now, I got Kane on the background thinking... But still on the verge. That's why I sent in our chat the other day. Like, I might go level him up just to see how the damage output is, But having Amy to heal seems kind of like ideal, and we'll talk about it later. But yeah, I haven't really been having too many problems with that setup.
Okay, copy that. So yeah, I similarly was like, it wasn't a matter of like I'm worried about them leveling up. Again, I had faith that would balance itself. But to me, it was just comfort and like knowing what the dynamic was. So I kept my guardian and the biologist Hugh. Were the two that I'd been rolling with outside. Yeah, so yeah, I just added the thief in and headed off. And that's what I started with. So whoever you take with you, you'll undoubtedly need to do some jumping around to outfit that new person. So I had 106 macetas under my mattress, and I wouldn't take any skin on my ass to accomplish that. And one interesting thing I noticed as soon as I set out, just with the sprites on the overworld sprites, Sheer Sprite is shorter than all the others.
Really?
And she's the only one. It's not just a male-female thing. All the other women are the same height as everyone else. It's just Sheer, for some reason, is a hair shorter than the other characters, which
that's good for thievery. Like from
Lord
of the Rings, hobbits get in small places. Like maybe that's a helpful thing. Yeah. Lore, I like it. I like the choice.
Yeah.
But I didn't see that on my own, obviously.
So yeah, so I was setting out to do that re-equipment thing. Like I was kind of thinking, like, oh, I'm going to go on this fucking scavenger hunt to figure out everything. And then I break out the hint book and Mike's RPG Phantasy Star Cave to figure out my like optimal fucking stat boost math. And it occurred to me when I'm doing that, I'm like, all I have to do is go to the last fucking place I've been and buy all the shit. Like it's basically in the order of the fucking towns. Mm-hmm. So yeah, so I just went to Piata, got the ceramic cape for her, which is a plus 52 over the starter pack carbon suit, and then my laser knives plus 20 for her over the dagger, and then a plus 48 when she's dual wielding them, and then titanium gear and boots and Zima. So it was actually much easier than I anticipated, but I was thinking I was going to have to go around and do a bunch of shit. So you knock that out, and you're like, okay, now I'm ready to adventure, right? What the fuck do we do? And this game, I told you a bunch of times in the fucking thread, but like this game, fortuitously, not that they could predict that we'd be fucking side questing for podcasts 6 months apart at a time, 30 years down the road, but 35 years down the road, but fucking this game has that librarian situation, so you can go there and just pop in for a refresher whenever we last left off on the movie of the week. And upon entering, the librarian dangles a carrot unsolicited. She doesn't even you don't have to like ask her, that she has that menu where you can ask her shit, but you just walk in and she just starts telling you where you're at, which is fucking amazing, like a really cool device that I can't believe this is the first game that does that, or that we found so far. Obviously we're pre-quest log, this has always been just, you got to just know, for any of these games we've done. And it's just such a nice fucking thing. That a really fucking smart design choice.
Oh, yeah.
So you walk in and she says, "Is it true that Moda is going to be flooded? I hope those 4 dams will somehow open."
Clearly, that's my next goal.
Right, exactly. So prying a bit further on the dam stuff, she'll go on to get pretty explicit. She says, there are rivers running in all 4 directions, east, west, south, and north from a lake. There are dams built between each river and the lake. They control the amount of water flow flowing into the rivers. The names of the dams are Green Dam, Yellow Dam, Red Dam, Blue Dam. In order to enter each dam, a card whose color matches the color of the dam is required. These cards are supposed to be in a control tower, but its location is a secret. Also, the smallest dam is the Red Dam, and the structures get more complicated in the order of yellow, blue, and green. So she's telling us to start looking for the card keys and the most logical order of tackling the dams. So, I mean, I don't know what more you could ask for, really.
All right. Here we go. Off we go.
So, control towers, you say. I remember those being a thing, or I remembered those things being a thing in Piata. So that is where I inspected first. And I guess, first question, did you have any, was that your first thought as well? Did you talk to the librarian first?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Are you kidding
And
me?
then
I wrote down every freaking detail and then went back to my notes.
Did you actually write it by hand?
Oh,
That's amazing.
absolutely.
That's beautiful. Yeah, that's beautiful. I probably screenshotted. Oh, I wrote it down for the notes too. So did you go to the Piata first?
Yeah.
Was that your first idea? Or okay. Word. So yeah, you go there, and sure enough, you can enter that middle tower in the ruins area in the southwest of town. So let us get to dungeon diving. And we couldn't enter that before. Did you? I'm pretty sure I tried to go in there, and I don't think we could before.
I don't think so either, because it was just kind of there, like, all right, that's an interesting spot, suspicious,
right.
whatever.
Yeah. We talked about being able to interact with it. I can't imagine I didn't try to walk into it, you know, so.
We would have talked about it. There would have been, yeah, we would know. We would know if we were able to go in.
Right. So the very first battle, just inside of this place, was against a Wireface, which is an awesome enemy name. A lot of these robots are, I think. And Sheer raised 3 levels with the 180 XP it awarded right there from the jump. So again, yeah, that faith was rewarded. I was caught up, dude. I mean, not, obviously it scales exponentially as far as how much you need for each level. Right. So as you get higher, it gets slower. But I mean, I was like up to like, I don't know, I think I wrote down here, up to like 9 within a couple of minutes of being in this very first tower with her. So they catch up super fast,
Same.
Which is nice.
Same, of course. As soon as I went outside, I fought an enemy, gained 2 levels. So I was like level 10 by the time, like, working in this place.
Okay.
Awesome.
Word. So the next battle was with 2 of those, the Wirefaces and a Maz Gamma, both of which are robots, which had me immediately thinking, so it's like, all robots, right? I'm immediately thinking, like, might have been a mistake not to bring that Dopey Wrecker. That is good against robots, Codsworth is what I named him in my case, so. Yeah, immediately I'm like, oop, might have been a mistake, So the seed is planted right from the fucking jump. I didn't act on it yet.
Okay.
But immediately I'm like, this could get problematic. So yeah, I fight that. 2 more levels up for Sheer, so that's 5 in the first 2 fights. And then she got a Ryuka somewhere in there, which is a big come up, obviously. And then her Hinnis comes at 9, which again maybe took 7 of these first 4 battles to hit to get to level 9. So, very nice as far as the progress goes there. So, you encounter a bunch of robots here. You get Metal Men. You get Informers. So, Informer, say that I'm a snowman, I go glam. I like it boom boom down. Take the man, say that I'm a snowman, stop somewhere down the lane. I like it boom boom down. Informer, say that I'm a snowman, I go glam. I like it boom boom down. They are the rest of the bots you'll bump into in here. And Informers, Jay, when was the last time that you watched that Snow Informer music video?
The video?
Yes.
I don't know, a long time ago, but the minute you say the word, that's all I hear in my head. That's all I hear in my head. I've listened to the song very recently, but like...
Okay, well, stop what you're doing right now and go watch that music video. That's it, I'm sure. if you've gotten to Lick Your Boom Boom Down one time, you got the oh yeah, for sure. Gosh. Yeah, the 90s are fucking insane, dude. That is an insane piece of media. That dropped in August 92 and spent 7 weeks atop the Billboard Top Hundo with that guy, that dude singing the song. What the fuck was wrong with us as a people in 1992 for that to occur?
I have
that sat at the Billboard Top 100 for 7 fucking weeks. That insane song with that dude singing it. Like, what is that dude doing right now? Like, absolutely insane. And yeah, every time I see one of those fucking enemies for the rest of the time playing this game, that song is just on a loop in my head. Which is a horrible thing to have burrowed into your consciousness.
Freaking earworms. And now it's back in my head again. Thank you again.
Yeah, you got it. So one random fun fact about this control tower mission, it's really nice to already be inside of a town when you leave a dungeon that you're working on, as opposed to having to go somewhere to get to the healer. The doctor. Yeah. So that was a very nice, luxury, I suppose, about this particular undertaking. So once you decide to start trying to make progress in this joint, you will find that it is a complete jumblefuck maze of up and down teleporters, and that will be a reoccurring theme for all of our, if you want to call them dungeons for this particular episode, is that, yeah, that is how this particular game, I don't know, complicates these dungeon undertakings, is just by adding up and down, like, I don't know, puzzle maze, like whatever you want. They're not, it's not, I guess it's a maze, technically. Anything where you're lost is a maze, but like, it's, I don't know, it's just arbitrary. It's just arbitrary runaround.
That's all it is. It's just a bunch of labyrinths over and over again. It's not even the freaking enemies. It's just a freaking
labyrinth fine,
over and over again.
Yeah, the enemy, I mean, I maybe like the latter ones, only because of the unreasonable amount of attrition. Like, if it wasn't such a runaround with such a what the fuck to it, if it would have been reasonable amounts of time I had to spend in them, I don't think they would have been threatening from a enemy attrition standpoint. But because you are just like, even with a map, even once I was like, fuck this, and hint book, like, I'm still like, I don't know. I don't know how to get there.
You gotta, I had to spend like minutes tracing, like, back this way and that way and that way.
Yeah.
Like, I eventually, we'll get to that one later, but yeah, it's, I echo everything you're saying.
Yeah.
Bottom line.
So with this very first one, I systematically canvassed the joint pretty damn hard while grinding shear up, and I was rather confident that I would be consulting the hint book with regularity in my mission here, just from this very first one. But I was able to kind of just wander onto the correct path, which is the fourth teleporter from the left on the north wall of floor 1 is where you ultimately want to get to. And that takes you up to a place on the second floor that was getting me somewhere. It wasn't any fun or gratifying, but you eventually get onto the second floor and you reach a very conspicuous door that upon inspection returns a message that reads, "It seems like a very strong shutter." And after all that fucking just wandering, and to get that message at the first POI you encounter, it's like, what the fuck does that mean? Yeah. So having that moment is the only reason I glean that the sprite in the even more conspicuous room adjacent to the door might be a chest. Like, it doesn't look like one. You know what I mean? So when I first passed that, I was just like, I might even have walked up to it, and I was just like, whatever. And just fucking, went back out there, because it's like you have to like go, it's like the runaround, even get to the door. You gotta like go back down to the south side and then wrap around the room to get up there. So yeah, so I fucking go to the door, come back down to this thing, check it again, and the message when you check this chest deal reads, "Here's a keyboard." It's not one word, it's 2, keyboard. Oh, and there's some music too. Shall I touch it? And if you say yes, you're just warped outside to Piata at the base of the tower. So, like, you're taken outside of the dungeon. And after all the fucking bullshit you go through to get there, like, to just be like, oh, you're out of there.
Was that it?
And like, there's no recourse. Yeah. And yeah, you don't even know if that was like, if you did the thing or whatever. You don't even know whether it was a success. There's no feedback to explain that to you. So yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. I think that happened to me I probably did it twice. I was like, that happened. And again, yeah, you don't know. I'm like, okay, maybe I did something wrong. So I go back in, go all the way back there again and do it again. And then I'm more back outside again. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, what in the fuck? Were you able to intuitively figure out what the fuck you needed to do to this?
Yeah, I mean, I was just looking at the map. I mean, not the map, but the hint book. So I was able to figure.
Oh, you'd already went to the hint book here. Okay, yeah. I had not.
Because I only did it once, and then I was just like, "What just happened?"
I had no fucking clue to use that music shit, dude. I had no clue. And like, it does talk about music, and like, yeah, we got that music thing a long time ago. So I mean, part of this is maybe just blamed on the time period. Maybe if I had done this in July of 2024, perhaps I would have remembered having gotten that and being a little bit mystified as to what it was for. But I had no clue. I had fucking none, man. Ugh.
Yeah. At that point, I had decided, I'm gonna like take a stab at things, but I'm gonna have the hint book like on the left in case I'm not gonna just mess around, because this is very with these shoots that made me very concerned already.
So I again do it twice, no solution. I haven't looked at the book yet. I don't have any idea about the music shit, so I'm like, maybe I got to go talk to people now. It's taking me out here. Maybe something's changed out here. Oh. So I start walking around and talking to all the people in town and do kind of a cursory townsfolk chatter deal, and they all are saying new shit. So that's also probably why I didn't immediately. If they did, like the first one would have said the same thing, and the second one said the same thing, I'd probably been like, well, that's the fucking not it. So, and just went back to the tower. But they were all saying new shit. So I'm like, well, maybe something's gonna happen now. So I go around and talk to all these fucking people, and the kids are all saying that they were told by the parents to not talk to Todd. And then old men are saying your face looks pretty familiar. And then others explicitly say you look like the gang they've seen on the wanted posters. So everyone's kind of like on edge about you being wanted criminals now. You know, like the
I can't believe you were talking to people, because I still avoided everyone because of all of that.
Really?
Like I still did.
Really?
Yeah. Wow.
I don't trust these games, or I guess that should have, I mean, in a logical space, if you are a wanted criminal, going around and just fucking flaunting your face to the public is a super stupid idea, but I don't trust these games are capable of that. And also I was stumped. So everyone's talking about that, and there's a couple of old men that do talk about the biohazards being gone, but that the heavy atmosphere on this planet somehow stays the same. And that was the one thing that people said that, like, I don't know, I don't want to say dangled a carrot. It's not like I was like, ooh, there's a solution. But it was like, it was a question that I didn't have an answer for, or something I couldn't quite explain. So I thought that maybe it had something needed to happen with that. I don't know. But I don't know that the plot point had evaded me up to that point. And yeah, I was fucking clueless. And I mean, I felt gypped by the keyboard nonsense. So then I broke down and hint booked, because I talked to everyone, got some like semi-useful information, but it didn't unlock anything for me. And I felt like there was like maybe something broke, or I wasn't understanding a UI thing or something, in being transported out of the tower. So yeah, I just hint booked. And yeah, I'm reading through those 3 pages. Like, you open the hint book after you've already done something most of the way. You know what I mean? I guess here's what I'm saying. You open the hint book after you've already gotten stumped at like the end point of whatever the fuck that chapter or section is. And like, I'm reading through, I'm like, yep, did that. 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 Why am I stuck? Yep, did that. Yep, did that. And then you get to the very end, and yes, it tells you that you have to use the music technique you paid that Dan Teaches Guitar guy back in whatever, Zima, I think maybe it is, at the thing. So, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, whatever. Again, if it's more fresh, maybe you think of that, but didn't even fucking cross my mind, and I never would have thought of it in a million years if I hadn't used that book.
Same.
So,
but there's a lot that comes to my mind like that as I played this, so it's kind of like, oh yeah, that kind of makes sense. So,
I guess it connects. So I use that tech with Todd while standing in front of the chest, and I am told, like, they actually say that you used it successfully, but I do that, and I'm like, okay, and then the same warping shit happens when I touch the keyboard, which is I thought, or rather is which is what I thought using that music would have allowed me to do. So I get warped outside again. Just fucking super fucking frustrating. And what the music does is it just opens that door, which you can't see, and you get no feedback that the door is open. Yes, it said it used it successfully, but that doesn't mean shit. I could have done anything. So yeah, the frustration did not end even when I did it the right way, which was fucking fuck. Yeah. Yeah. So the door's open, and the 4 consoles, you go inside the room. It's just a room. It's what's behind me right now. You go in. There's 4 consoles, mainframe looking fucking kind of deals, and each one of these corresponds to the color-coded keys, and it tells you have gotten a hold of one after you inspect them. And then the reason you can touch that keyboard and be transported out still is like a quality of life feature. So you can just get out of here without having to use any magic, I guess, which is what you can do after you've gotten the card keys and you actually want to leave this fucking place. Now we turn our attention to the damn dams.
Damn dams indeed.
Did you go to the librarian's reco as far as the order of them? Or did you take matters into your own hands?
I mean, I absolutely went there. Are you kidding me? Like, I did not want to deviate from it. If you're telling me this is the path I need to go, I'm going to go to that. Like, because I didn't know what was going to pop off, you know?
Me either, but you don't always have to trust what they tell you. True, we have Simon's Quest exists, Jay, so you can't always trust the NPCs. So yeah, we are going to go through them for the purposes of potting here either way to keep shit organized. So the order will be red, yellow, blue, green. And obviously you do the primary colors first, then turn to the secondary colors. You got to know your color wheel, Jay.
Absolutely. Are you kidding me? For sure.
So the first thing you'll notice when setting out on this damn pilgrimage, however you venture into it or through it, is that the biomonsters are indeed no longer wandering the countryside, which I didn't realize because with the control tower shit, because I just fucking subway there or whatever, transported there. So I didn't troll around at all until now. So I started wandering the countryside and realized that yes, it's all bots all the time. And again, I'd already had the fucking like little shimmer of that idea, but do you have your wrecker, Loric Disciples? You need to go get it if not. At least that's how I felt about it. Are you telling me, or were you telling me earlier that you still haven't, at no point in these dams, you did not go get it?
I did not go get
it. Get him. Oh, man.
I was looking at, I'll put it like this. I'm looking at the numbers and like Rudo is still doing high damage with his gun. Call him average 50 plus.
It might just be guns, but I don't have Rudo, so I have no other gun wielders.
Okay.
So that was the thing I wasn't doing. I immediately noticed, I mean, I have it when I get into this first dam here, but I immediately am noticing that like all my damage is nerfed. And I'm like, I was like, well, that's a fucking problem, clearly. So I need to do something about it, and the best idea I could come up with was probably that our guy that is clearly predisposed to being useful against fucking robots is going to be the fucking solution. So, yeah, it didn't even cross my mind that the other dude, because he had guns, might be useful for these things. Oh, yeah. So the wrecker was my only solution.
Yeah, but he does high enough damage, and then Rolf, my agent, still does, depending on the robot. He can still do high damage depending on the robot, but like some robots, he'll still do like low damage. So it's like, ugh. And the funny thing, hearing you talk about the different technology that you're using and like wanting to save MP, because we hadn't played in so long, I completely forgot about the techniques that my agent would use. So I haven't used any of them throughout this entire damn run. So like for me, being able to use Highness or you could get out was no problem because like all I did was just damage with my weapons.
Oh man, I think I might again. I have this vague memory of mentioning like my first time, like I don't know, kind of really getting into the magic and basically just not hitting fucking go at the beginning of every battle happened to me during the last episode. But this time, dude, I sat down and like made a fucking flowchart. Like I figured out buffs. I dialed in to how to min-max the shit out of the party that I had chosen. And I absolutely fucking, and again, we'll get into them later, but you get items in these dams that allow you to do things to optimize your situation without even burning technique points. So yeah, between those coming into the picture and adding the wrecker and just figuring out everything that I needed to be doing to actually, because these things, I mean, some of these robots are fucking rim wreckers on damage. They have a shit ton of defense, and like you have to, at least I was not able to just brute force into them as I had been doing for most of the battles in this game to date. So I had to get very strategic.
Dude,
for this episode.
So you went back and got Kane,
the wrecker. I swapped out the biologist.
Okay, okay. Wait, the biologist, is that Anna? Is that the healer?
No, the biologist is Hugh.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So who's your full party now? Then your party is.
So I would go. I kept Thief. I kept my Guardian, and obviously kept the Agent. So I swapped. So it was Agent, Guardian, Wrecker, Thief.
Wait, Guardian is Anna, the healer?
Correct. Well, not the healer. The Guardian is I think Emma Frost one for the tall blonde dime piece.
Oh, okay.
So she's kind of she's an attacker that has like cool buffs.
Yeah,
cool attack buffs.
Oh, okay, interesting. Because that. So did you actually see? I need some intel right now. Like, did you see?
Oh yeah, I'll get into it here.
Okay.
This is earlier than I meant to talk about it. Okay. I didn't quite do it here, but again, I'm just talking about the slow planting of the seeds of getting me down the road of bringing the wrecker into my life, because there are plenty, I felt, of strong clues that you should make that choice. You know, and I felt that was so like it was so in your face that I was like, I'm just going to stop resisting it and deal with the little bit of startup cost that'll come with making that choice, you know. Man. So I didn't quite make it before going into the Red Dam here, but I would down the line. So, and the other thing I noticed about these fucking robots, dude, which was also part of the thing of why I was like, I need to like figure out a plan to be more effective against these things. You can't run from them, or I couldn't run from them. Were you able? I mean, I couldn't run from these fucking things. I wasn't able to run at
all the time.
Really? I could not fucking run ever against these fucking things.
So they're only every now and then. And I don't know if it's like when they're super fast, agitated, like the ones that move, like that you can tell they're like super, super fast. And I'm like, oh,
like visually. I like that you're talking about the battle animations like they mean anything.
Well, I didn't know because, like, you know, some of them, it seemed like their heads moved like slower, and then other times it seemed like they moved faster. So really? I thought, like, okay.
I mean, they do all kind of. I wrote down, I think, numerous times they all kind of like they're freaking out at all times. So I get how you could like I don't know. Take note of that, but to link it to any sort of like I don't know numbers is funny to me. Yeah, no, I couldn't do it. I couldn't. I mean, I couldn't. I just couldn't run from it. Like I it was so bad. And later I would learn that it was not this absolute situation, but it was so bad that early on I was thinking that it was just automatic that you couldn't. Like there was some sort of it was just like. A hardcore thing that you couldn't run from them.
No, I would just say this: like in the open country, in the open world, I was pretty much fighting stuff often if I felt like it. You know, unless I was trying to get like just directly here to the scooter or here to the dam or whatever it was. You know, and I wasn't trying to just level, I was like, and I was trying to keep my health basically intact. Then I was running. I was doing it successfully most of the time. So even in the dungeons. Because of all the chutes and everything, or the dams, because of all the chutes, I was running all the time. And there was only a couple times when I was getting like stopped and would fight when I had to. That was like that would eventually, after this dam, not the red dam, But when we go to the yellow dam and forward, that would become my default strategy is like run first and like only battle when they fight me when we go into the battle and they fight me or they won't let me.
There were so many times where I was like, it can't always be not running. or rather, it can't always prevent you from doing that. And I would run, and I'd just be like, fuck! I should have just fought. I had that little sequence of moments so many times playing for this fucking episode. Anyhow, the Red Dam is the one just up the tube from the preferred scooter parking spot outside Zima. So they kind of put it right there for you as your dam starter pack. And I warped over to the Clear Malt Beverage town and then buzzed on over for that. And the key card works in the door without any 1990 RPG bullshit, and we are in. So wandering around in here, which is not as small as there were 4 of these. So going into this, I'm kind of thinking, I'm like, these will hopefully all be kind of just like mini boss tier endeavors, not full sprawling dungeons with, that are a whole to do. Incorrect. They are all 4 are a whole fucking thing, and you're going to spend a ton of time on them, and you're not going to blow through it, and you're probably going to get lost, and you're probably going to be frustrated, yada, yada, yada. So, yeah, it was not, it did not fulfill my hopes at all as far as that goes. So, yeah, I would score, so wandering around in here, I'd score a Fire Slasher from a chest. This is a Guardian-only thing, and it's a nice +8 uptick when replacing one of the laser knives Dime Piece was dual-wielding with. So, yeah, so I came into this, everyone had laser knives dual-wielding, was how I started this episode, for the most part. And I made a bunch of conscious choices here to, in one case, add a shield, and take away the dual wielding and like suffer that damage loss. Again, like it was the first time. It's. I think it's just a furthering of what I was saying about the magic stuff. You couldn't just brute force, or I couldn't just brute force anymore. I had to okay, this isn't going well. I need to add some defense. I can't just hit attack. I have to figure out, I have to buff first. I have to do this. I have to do that. I have to increase my shields. I have to do this. All this fucking strategy stuff happened for me this time, which I like, that's great. I'm not complaining. I don't want to just brute force. That's boring, of course. The whole point of this is how can I make my numbers cool and enjoy what I'm doing, and then make a math problem that's fun, is what an RPG really is at its core. So I was happy to have to do that, but it was new because we hadn't had to do that prior to this. Not to the level anyways that I had. So I take away the dual wielding, or take away the one laser knife, give her the Fire Slasher, and really cool attack animation for this. She throws it. It's still a melee weapon, I think, but you throw it. Your animation is she doesn't step up to the enemy. She stands back and she throws it, and then it cuts across a whole group of enemies in one fire trailing pass. So it was a really cool attack animation. And I immediately noticed that it was also more damaging to the body. Fire, I expected to be not particularly effective, you know what I mean? On robots for obvious reasons. And it actually was, at least comparative to what I was doing with the laser knives, a huge uptick. So that was nice.
Interesting.
And then later, the Sword of Ango is found. Or is it Ango or Algo? Ango, right? I feel like that might be a typo or an autocorrect, but whatever it is, Sword of Ango or Algo, you find that. That's an agent-only sword. That's the 3rd most powerful in the game, which was obviously a cool come up to find.
Must be nice. I did not find it.
Oh my god.
I died. I came back in there. I completed it. I came and looked around again. Still didn't find it. And at that point, I was just so done with the Red Dam. I was like, forget it. So...
man.
So for that, and at the end of the Red Dam, in my notes, I'm writing should I go get the wrecker? This is kind of silly, but yeah, I couldn't find the freaking sword. So that's another reason why, spoiler alert, I'm not flying anywhere yet. I'm like, should I go back again? Do I need to go take another pass? Now that I'm not trying to just fight everything and just see, yeah. So frustrating.
Okay. Yeah, you should get it. It's the 3rd most powerful sword or blade in the game, and the 4th most powerful weapon overall. If you pull up your Phantasy Star Cave weapon chart. It's a solid +16 over the laser sword I was balling with, or Todd was balling with, but it doesn't have, so the laser sword has a defensive benefit of +18. So when you make this choice, you again have to deal with the opportunity cost, basically, of foregoing that defensive addition that you had with the laser sword. So I don't know, I just love that it's not just an absolute upgrade. You have to it's like some choice there to make, what's more important to me. But, in the case of this, defense was legislated out of NFL football years ago, score tutties, so sort of Ango roll out. And then the Fire Staff is another banger in here, and that's a nice weapon for the Doc. That's got 32 AP, adds 11 defensive points, and can cast Foy without burning up any TP. But that's no benefit to me, not rolling with the Doc. So, yeah, did you get that?
So...
You still had the Doc, right?
Yeah, so that's the thing, man. Like, this was a very frustrating dungeon, because not only did I die in here first, and then I came in here and was able to intuitively just, go where I needed to go, I felt like. And I felt like I went every place and didn't find the sword, so I was frustrated. But on top of that, none of these were useful for me. None of, the Fire Slash and Fire Staff were not useful when I looked at the chart. And it's doing less damage. I'm like, why would I want to give that to Anna when the laser knife does more damage and has 5 defense? So I'm like, why would I use that? And then the other person, I'm not even rocking Kane, so I can't even use the Fire Staff. So it's just all right, whatever. And not finding the sword. So not finding the sword felt like an extra. Wow, well this place just was terrible all the way around.
You gotta go and get that sword, dude. You got to go in and get that sword for sure.
Unfortunately.
See, I was wandering my ass off. I find all those things fortuitously and tried what seemed like a million fucking teleporters. And I even had the thought of I'm going to fall in these pits and see where they take me. So that mechanic, which is prevalent in these dams, occurred to me. It's not like that I spaced on that. And so I was trying that shit too. But I couldn't find any water flow controlled doohickeys. So here on this very first dam, consulted the fucking hitbook map, and even doing that, I still couldn't exactly figure out what the fucking route was. These maps, they'd show you where fucking the teleporters are, and they show you where pits are, and the pits kind of line up. It's not perfect. Some of the later ones where there's a bunch of pits. Oh man, it's just
going with your gut, man.
Yeah, it's fucking go with your gut, right? Yeah. So yeah, it's not perfect in figuring those out. But yeah, it just doesn't tell you everything, and you even with these maps and looking at them meticulously, you're still gonna spend time you're gonna spend some trial and error time, and that of course leads to attrition and frustration and yada yada yada. So yeah, I was again surprised. This first one in particular, I was like, I expect this to be the easy one. That's why they tell you to do it first. And the experience I had in this one was holy shit. They're going to get worse than this?
Yeah, man. Exactly. Yeah. That's why not finding the sword, going back through multiple times, I was like, I just don't know. I don't know. I can't. If there are more to go, I eventually have to leave this place.
Yeah. So, yeah, with the map in hand, enough trial and error, the goal is to get to the southern half of the middle of the second floor, and that's where the mainframe is. And here you pop the red car key in. The message you get reads, the dam locks open and rushing water is heard. So that's good feedback. You understand you did something productive there. So that's nice change from the control tower bullshit. And yeah, I was on my last leg here. Mana totally cooked, save for just enough left in Shear's Till to warp our asses out of there. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. And no question in my mind, at least in my understanding, that I went from floor 1 to 3 and back without having to stop on 2 at times. So I don't see how that is possible. Which maybe just meant I didn't understand what I was doing and I was wandering. But it seemed to me, even once I started using the maps, I was going from 1 to 3 and 3 to 1 at times and not stopping on 2. So yeah, I was confused.
How's that even possible?
Even in success, I was confused, I guess, is ultimately what I'm saying there. So whatever, get the fucking, set the water for fucking flowing again, and then get your ass back outside. And now water is flowing down that tube from the dam. So visibly you can see that you made a change in the world too. And the cool thing is it not only puts water in that, just the tube going out to the sea, but it also fills up the tributary that snakes east past Piata. And that, I don't know, it made me feel more accomplished that you were like actually affecting. Mm-hmm. It's like, you know, with Dragon Warrior 2, we talked about it a lot too. Like just being able to, when you do whatever the fuck it is, open that floodgate or whatever it was, and then, you know, recreate that river to sail your ship down, like affecting the global map in these games where they kind of feel a little more static than that being possible. You know what I mean? Yep. It's a really cool feeling. And I like that, I don't know, that they rewarded you visually with that here. So that's the red one. Your next, again, following the librarian recommendation, is the yellow dam. And this is the eastern one. Or anyways, that's what the Pack-In map actually denotes as the yellow dam, which is incorrect. I forgot this. Look at my fucking notes here. The eastern dam is the blue dam. Yellow is actually the western one. So the fucking materials you get are direct you to the wrong one. So yeah, like I went in there and I was like, this is definitely not yellow. And like these colors, you know, like it's fucking, who knows? Like I went in there and I'm like, is it yellow? I'm not like, is it just the floor? Or are we, like, what do you know? Like what has to be yellow for it to be yellow, you know? And does the color even matter? It's just the fucking name. Like, you know, so yeah, I had a little fucking moment of like, I don't know, again, just more confusion, I guess. So you go to the western one, actually, and that's get inside there and started encountering pairings of 2 of those absolute damage sponge enemies, which I didn't even write what they were, actually. So I think, it was those big hulking brown fuckers, I think. You get 2 of those at once. Oh and gosh. This is where I decided, okay, got to go get the Wrecker. And I went and got Codsworth and set out on a journey of getting him up to speed also. And this meant swapping out Nature's Way, my biologist, to make room. And I was super worried about losing the healing contributions. Yeah, man. From that. So that was worrisome. But I would eventually just, like you said, start stocking up on Trimates was the only solution. So yeah, you like, again, going back to the initial idea about this character shit, like you have to make a tough decision. You know, you're going to forego something to get something. There's no, you know, if you want Luka Doncic, you're gonna have to fucking trade AD. It's just how it's. It's they're not letting you fucking get away with some second round picks. You know, so that is, I don't know. It's how it should be, I guess. You know, so it's cool that you have to make those choices, those tough choices. So by level 7, he has a bunch of mechanical focused debuffs and attacks that I was eager to dump on damn bots with, and we'll cover those later in the arcane teachings as far as specificity goes, but. He stacks, like leveling him up, he stacks TP pretty fast, had a max of 50 at level 13, and his techs tend to use very little TP per cast, so it was noticeably incremental in how you burn through it, which I think is maybe a calculated choice, because they are, if you're going to bring him into your party, you want him to be able to affect every battle, and the way he can really do that is with these technique points. So it's nice that they're not all like high burners, you know what I mean? That you can just, they're like a stepping stone for any semi-difficult battle you're going to get in. You can utilize him to his fullest. So I think it's well balanced in that regard. You know what I mean?
Interesting. Yeah.
So at 13, once I had him up to 13, I started actually taking the dam on. And I immediately noted his best available weapon, Laser Shot, does 3 to 4 times what Todd was doing. Todd and Dime, actually, the Guardian, melee attacks against those eyesores. So very quickly, I was able to discern that I had made a great choice. That he, both in his attacking, and again, you may not notice that same uptick because you have the gun. It is a gun that we're talking about, his Laser Shot, which
I think I just sold my extra laser shots because I was like, no, am I using this? I need space for Trimates, and I think I sold.
Okay,
but
so
you probably have hella cash, so it doesn't even matter.
Okay, yeah,
wow.
So it's a huge upgrade in my case. Again, maybe because you have a gun, well, it'll just double it up and it'll be even more of a Rim Wrecker, I guess. But
great.
Yeah. Other than that, it is the usual up and down shit as every other dungeon, and that's about it other than getting some new gear. And the gear in here is the Cristanish. That's on the 3rd floor, and this is Hunter Wrecker armor that can cast basic attack spell Gra when used. It's plus 12 over the ceramic armor, which is nice. There's the Amber Robe on maybe the 3rd floor. I wasn't even sure when I got it where I was at. I was just fucking wandering. But this is Biologist armor. That's a big downgrade from some other options, but can cast Gyrez in battle. which is fucking beautiful, of course. So the tough thing, like, anyone can use it, but it only heals the person in possession of it. So it doesn't allow you to, like, cast the spell in the traditional manner where you can choose which party member. So you're giving it to the person that you want. And you don't have to be able to equip it to use it too, which is nice. So it doesn't have to be the person that it's meant for. It can just be in your
inventory?
Yeah, anyone can cast the spell. So that is interesting to note because, yes, I would. Throughout the dams, I'm eventually able to give everyone a Gyres healing item. And that changes the game immensely, because you take the math out of it, being able to heal, and all you have to do is forego, obviously, the attack that they'd be foregoing in battle. But if you're strategizing correctly, that's mostly fine. In most cases, you just have to make sure you're covering with it with the other people at the time, So, and like forecasting out at the right time when you're going to drop to a point where it's most beneficial without being too low and being near death, you know what I mean? So there's that, and then I cleaned up the whole fucking joint and was just about to stumble into the spiral hallway in the center of the 4th floor that takes you down to the enclosed room where the damn mainframe is when I got frustrated again, gave up, and just flat out hint booked. So I was kind of frustrated that I was like, I used it on the red, and I was like, okay, I'm not going to do that for everyone. I go back to fucking kind of trying to navigate it traditionally and wandered for so long, got frustrated again, and then used it, and then it was like I was right at the place I needed to get to. Basically, or right before anyways. And that, of course, is a frustrating feeling to cheat when you find out you didn't have to, that you were already on the correct path. So are you telling me you didn't get through all these? Is that what you were saying earlier?
What do you mean?
You said you don't have the spaceship.
Oh, no. I'm saying, like, I have it. I'm saying, like, I didn't go take it and go fly away because I was like, wait a minute. I'm afraid if I leave the planet, I won't be.
Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah. I don't. Have you tried to go back into the dams? Are you able to?
I don't know. I was going to try. Like, I figured because there's water flowing through, maybe I can get through, but I'm not sure. Like, you don't have the key cards anymore, obviously. So I just assume maybe like the doors.
Well, you have the key cards.
No, you don't.
Right? Or no, you put the key cards.
I noticed every time you use one and you complete it completely, it
leaves the inventory.
Because I was like, there's one more space for a trimate.
Well, the door should just be open. That shouldn't be a problem.
Right.
But yeah, I don't know if you'll be able to get in there. Well, that thing goes through water, but it goes to the tunnel when it doesn't have water. Maybe. I don't know. That's a great question. I'll be super curious to hear whether you can.
I don't know. Trust me, hearing you talk about that and noticing already, like, even when I look at the weapon list, like, stuff that I would get for my gun carrier would also be for Kane. And I'm just like, man, the gun dude is the only person that does damage. I think I absolutely, like, because now from the yellow onward, I was just running. I got through the yellow much smoother. Not that I didn't have to look at the hymn book, like I eventually did, but I was kind of like, I was able to kind of just follow everything. Like, this one kind of seemed more straightforward. But because I was running away from most things, when I did get into battles, I'm able to get through the battle, heal after I'm done, we're good. Like, except for like one instance of me like dying to like some crazy huge heavy robot double combination, which was traumatizing. Outside,
probably the one. It's probably the combo I was talking about. Yeah. When somebody go get the record.
Yeah. Outside of that, like, I was fine in battles for the most part, but healing. But like, it still makes me wonder, like, going forward, am I going to get in battles and just be like screwed because I can't run from certain battles and I'm just like suboptimal? Because right now I'm basically, even though I have my healer, like I have her there to heal. Otherwise, I'm like, I'm going all damage. But I don't know if I have the most optimal damage clearly from this setup, But I'm not sure.
We've covered some of them here. These latter two dams have a ton of shit too. Yeah, like not getting all the shit here sounds like a huge bummer.
But the funny thing is, like, I get everything else going forward. Like, it was literally just that dungeon not getting like the Sword of Ango or whatever it's supposed to call it. But everything else I end up getting. Most of it, like the crystal, all this stuff here, yes. This, I'm like, yes, I can finally use everybody. Equip. But it's just kind of like Amber Robe and some other stuff that's unusable. Currently.
Yep. So the next one is blue. And at the librarian suggestion anyways. And I walked in here and I don't know. I just had this feeling the second I walked in the door. I was like, why would I just keep wandering? Like, what is the point of spending the time to wander these as I had done the first two, you know? And so I walk in here and I'm like, fuck it, man. I'm just going to use the fucking hint book right from the fucking jump here. Like, there's no way this will be a pleasant experience. It's obviously going to be harder. And the second I looked at it and the copy in the fucking hint book reads, of the 4 dams, the blue dam has the most levels. And I was like, okay, great call.
Exactly. 100%, Josh. 100%.
Yeah, so yeah, the red dam is 3 floors, the yellow dam is 4 floors, this one is 5, and it is a fucking mess for sure. So 5 levels, tons of chests, definitely smart to hint book if you value the time remaining in your life. And as far as shit you get in here, there's the Cressa gear on 2, and this is a hunter-only helmet. That's no better than the titanium cranium guard, but it is also Gyres enabled. So I was at 2 free healing items that you can adorn your 2 frontliners with, is how I use them.
Which one is that? Which one was that has the... What piece?
Cressa gear. Cressa gear.
Yep.
So, yep. So I don't have the hunter, but again, it doesn't matter. So I gave that to Anna, I believe, and Todd had gotten the other item, the whatever the fuck the thing was for the biologist. So I'm 2 of 4 now as far as free healing goes. Nice. Then the Storm Gear is on 5. This is a Wrecker-only helmet. It casts Gzon, which is the Crushing Vacuum family attack spell. 2nd level of them. And it's a net 0 over the Titanomet. I just bought him, but the spell is obviously nice, so you keep the Storm Gear in that case, and it also sounds cooler. And then the Color Scarf is on 4. This is Guardian-only headgear. It's +3 over the titanium gear dime piece I was rolling with at the time. And then it casts Saner, which is a party-wide speed buff. So that's the spell that is kind of like the fast equivalent in Final Fantasy. That makes everyone, or makes you just, it increases your speed, but that leads to more damage. I guess it's more attacks or something is the idea. So that's a very good buff to have. And I would very soon start employing that on the regular whenever I was heading into something serious, you know what I mean? Like the first, I would again, I'll get to the whole flow chart, but I would basically have my whole first turn is basically everyone's doing some kind of buff or something that, and not really attacking, you know what I mean? So that is interesting because that is so far removed from, again, just hitting fucking go at the start of every battle, you know what I mean?
Yeah, so, that is a
big change
fascinating thing to...
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So the Snow Crown is on 3, and you got to be adventurous enough to jump in a pit on 4 to get into the room it's found in. This is Doctor-only headwear. It's a nice little D-bump over the Silk Crown she probably has if you're Doctor-enabled, and cast the Biologist party-wide defensive barrier buff. And I dropped this item on Shear the Wind, and it was this, again, exactly what I was just saying, at the beginning of every battle. This is what she did. She would use that item, and it casts across the whole party a shield spell, and it was noticeably affecting on how much damage these things were doing to each of my characters. So huge come up to find that and start using that in that manner. And another bonus to this particular item is the pitfall leading here is also what you have to go into to go down the road to get to the mainframe. So it's kind of on the way to the end anyhow. And then the Wind Scarf is on 3, and this is a thief-only headgear deal. It's +3 of the titanium gear, and then casts on. So, other than that, nothing of interest in here to report. I would say card key, mainframe, rushing water. Did you have any notable events in here?
Not really. I mean, I did the same thing. Like I said, I looked at this map the whole time, and I was very much studying. I think one of the kids came in and was talking to me, and I was like, hold on, I'm charting.
Fuck off for a second. I'm doing some serious shit.
If I don't that's where I'm at right now, I don't know what's gonna happen. You know, I'm gonna have to start over. But yeah, it was really a pain in the ass trying to figure out the whole thing. Like, wait, do I have to jump in the hole? Yeah, where are we going here?
The 5 to 4 deal with the
I went through the dungeon multiple times. I was like, I've gone every place. I can't. What do I do now? Before figure how do I get to the other places? And it wasn't until I looked at this and I was like, what do you mean? In these holes? The 5 holes?
Yeah, on the 4th level, there's those... It's reminiscent of the Ice Cave in Final Fantasy, where there's a bunch of holes right by each other, and all of them but one drops you just off where you want to be, you know? And, if you don't have save states, and have to deal with the dick around of those. It is just pointless. And there's no other way for them to make, it's fucking 1991. There's no other way for them to make these harder than the things we're complaining about, but it's certainly nice that we no longer live in those times.
Well, I didn't do myself any favors. I didn't like save state before. Like I honestly just tried each one. I was like, oh, it dropped me back to the third level. All right, back here we go.
Well,
same again.
That's the frustrating thing is you might not even, again, especially as a player in 1990 and not if you don't have these maps in particular, you don't even know that you're just off the path.
Oh my gosh.
And you're not going to, if you're just wandering, if you're mapping one thing, which we're supposed to be, that's what these games want you to be doing here. So that's the answer to this question. But if you're not doing that and you're just wandering, you don't even remember how to get back to where you just were.
I couldn't even play this game without this hint book. Are you kidding me? Like it's not a discussion I'm even willing to have.
Yeah, no, but in 1990, you would have. If you had started the game, you'd have been a kid and you wouldn't have thought. You wouldn't even have known how to get it. You probably wouldn't have known it existed. Oh my gosh. You wouldn't have had the resources to acquire it if you did know it existed. There's just a million impediments to this damn ruining your life in 1990 as a kid playing the game.
So basically what I'm hearing is the only reason this game got so much like fervor and push is because like the 5% of kids who were able to have access to this, they had money, their kids.
Well, I think this came with it. This have never gotten.
That's what I'm saying. Like that's what I mean. Like if I didn't have this book, like get out. Like I'm throwing this game away. But like,
sure.
With the him.
Yeah, I mean that's somewhat degrades what I was saying. I guess that it was a pack in, but nonetheless, yeah, there's plenty of situations where either kids didn't have them, even if it was fucking sitting, they lost it. Who knows? Like it's just whatever.
Are you kidding me? Getting this?
There are plenty of kids
like the local flea market or something. Like, oh, what is this game? And just not having the basis. Like
precisely right. Yeah. Just an empty ass shell case with no fucking manual or this. Jesus Christ. Or the map, not having the map, none of that stuff. Ooh. Fucking terrible existence. The last but not least dam is the green dam, and this is only 2 levels. So like again, I'm auto fucking hint booking here. So I walk in, it's only 2 levels. You're like, ooh. But it manages in 2 levels to be every bit the comparative shit show as the librarian saying it's the hardest, most difficult last one suggests it would be. So that is impressive, actually. That it's the fewest floors, but the most fucked is like a really impressive design choice or design accomplishment, I should say.
That's one way to describe it, I guess.
Right. It's made up of a preposterous number of small, closed-off rooms that require going up and down teleporters to get to the various POIs throughout, right? And yeah, no bullshit, dude. It was giving me a headache to look at and I don't have headache problems. I was legitimately getting a headache, dude. I'm laying on the couch, playing with my fucking little handheld thing, and I got my phone with the map open and the hint book on my phone. I'm looking at it, and I'm laying down. I should be comfortable and enjoying myself. And I'm looking at these 2 screens like, I don't fucking understand how to get to where I'm going. Yeah, and it does tell you that you got to read the copy, not just look at the maps, because it does tell you got it. Like the important thing is those outside paths on the outside of what is that, floor 1, right? Yeah, floor 1,
whatever that one that it is. Yeah, wherever it is.
And it has the fucking like the long hallways that wrap around the north and south borders. Those are the keys to getting to the places you really want to get in here. But it's like for some reason it just eluded me. I don't know. For some reason I looked at those and did not fucking think to use them. And yeah, this was a really, really brutal dungeon for me. But there's a bunch of unique things to cop in here to reward your questing steadfastness. And those are the true sleeves. This is a thief-only hand defense. That's plus 59. That's hard to argue against, not being better than a second laser knife. So that's the trade-off. You can't like have gauntlets, which is what these are basically are, and dual wield, which is interesting because gauntlets cover your hands.
Right? I was very confused at that. I was like, what?
Whatever. Oh. Yeah, they're making you make the choice here. But on top of that awesome defense buff, it also has a Gyrez. So I was 3/4 of the way to a party-wide capability with cost-free healing. And that is a hot development. And then there are the green sleeves. This is a Guardian-only plus 63 hand defensive gear if I wanted to nix Dime's dual wielding. In her case, I did not because she's using that thing I was saying, the
fire
sword. Yeah, fire slasher.
Fire slasher.
So she's using that and a knife. So she would go up and do 2 attacks. And it was just, I didn't feel comfortable taking the second one away from her. So yeah. It also casts a low-level biologist tech, Shin B, that makes enemies flee. That didn't sound fucking even vaguely like it was ever going to work. So I didn't even, ever think to use it. And then there is the Aegis, or how do you pronounce that, do you think?
Aegis? Aegis?
Aegis, yeah. Some sort of mythical fucking Greek shit. It must have a great PR team because it's in like every
game.
Whatever, basically.
Every game.
It's
the Aegis.
Aegis has a dope-ass PR team. And it's a plus 32 for either the biologist or the wrecker. And the problem with the wrecker is he uses guns and shit, and those are all two-handed. So, or all the good ones anyways. So that was another situation where it's just
get rid of that. Sorry.
You can't take that defensive buff. It's not fucking. Well, that's the thing. He still keeps it, and now he has Gyrez. So that was 4 for 4 for me. So I still kept it. You don't have to equip it, but he still kept it. And yeah, having that, like, I don't know. Everyone is incrementally better, of course, but like once I got to all 4 of them, I felt like I was, I don't know, on some level of like fucking high level side questing fucking thing. Like I was like, holy shit, like this completely changes the way I can play this game now, you know? And like it requires way more attention in the battles because you are now watching, because you know, again, it's only Gyrez, so it's only 40. So it's not like you just wait till you get low and heal all the way because these things
it's 60.
These things are doing 60. So much damage. No, Gyrez is 40.
What? No.
It's the second level.
What?
It's 20, 40, 60. Trimate and Dimate. Dimate is 40. Gyrez is the Dimate equivalent. It's level 2.
No, man.
Yes, man. Read your chart. Go to your pack-in map chart and look at the thing on the back. That's 40.
The G-Res, one character heals 60 HP.
No. Maybe.
Because trust me, I cast it with Amy all the time. That's why I was like, okay, I can do 60 with there. It'll get me, if I'm down to 40 and she was like at 100 health full, it would get me like about full to cast that.
Okay.
For anybody. And then Trimate gives you like full health or like 150 or whatever.
Whatever the case, even if it's 60,
it's way better than 40.
I mean, it's obviously awesomer. It's 20. Yes. It's 50% awesomer. But you're still. The problem is what I was getting at there is that you have, you know, your characters are at fucking all triple digit HPs, and these enemies. I mean, you know, in one round in these ladder dams, my agent can get fucking murked. Dude, down to fucking 2/3 of its damage in one turn. So you got to be like, again, plotting when that you basically want to be using it before you're below how much it's going to heal. You know, when you're still above that, expecting the damage that's going to hit in that turn is going to take you just below it, and you're going to maximize the usefulness of it. You know, so whether 40 or 60, that remains the case. Doing that kind of predictive math at all times. You know, which is. Very engaging compared to, again, just fucking hitting go on all the battles yet again. So after you round all that shit up, it's off to yet another mainframe. And when you walk into this one, shit goes a little differently. And I guess I would read if you it's not just the green dam, if it's the 4th dam, whichever order you do them in. So in our case, the green. But if you didn't do them this way, it would be the 4th one, not just the green dam. And you go to put the card in, and then you're confronted by 3 army eyes. Or you do put the card in, I should say, and then so you do lose it. But you're confronted by 3 army eyes, and I go into this battle, and I seem to be pummel chucking them quite nicely. Like I was doing plenty of damage to them, right? And I don't know, like it's going well seemingly, and again, you don't get enough user feedback to know what happened. So you're like you go through, I think it's 2 turns. And yeah, I fucking would go over to Mike's RPG cave and get the description. But basically, before I could kill any of them, it does that plasma. It says it popped up with what were described as plasma rings, as like the attack or whatever, you know what I mean, that they do, and then the screen fades to white, and you're teleported somewhere that was definitely not a color-coded dam, right? So you're taken somewhere else. So that happens, you're like, I mean, again, no user feedback, no explanation for why that happened, you know? So I immediately am like scouring fucking like, what the fuck, you know, trying to figure out so we can talk about it. And if you go to Mark's RPG, PS Cave, these are described as, this robot will attack you after you open the last dam on Moda. It only depends on which dam you last visited. You can fight this robot, but will never defeat it. It will be wiser to save your HP for the prison satellite Gaiara and defend yourself. And then the special attack column reads, traps party with plasma rings during third turn. So yeah, you go through 2 turns. No matter what happens, you fucking, that's the same thing, same result occurs. So yeah, their HP is 3,000 on the website.
So they're like, no matter what you do, you're not taking us down.
Right. So hypothetically, if you could hack the game and murk them, they do because they do have an XP award. You get 2 XP if you do find some way to break the game and kill them. So I thought that interesting. That like, I don't know, that it wasn't that the math of the, I don't know, that's the way they did it. Like they couldn't just make it unkillable, you know, it had to have an HP number. I just thought that, I don't know, programming wise, interesting. Anyhow, you are now in the satellite. Well, did you fucking, like, was that, I don't know, how did you process that? I guess is the question that I'm asking here. Like, did you just roll with it, or were you fucking confused? Like, was that?
I mean, I just went with it. Like, all right, what are we doing? You know, I
just I'm fucking going on. Just fucking press on, no questions. This must be the path. Well,
let me save it and see what happens.
All right, fair. So yeah, you're standing in some kind of space vessel for sure. You can there's unmistakable Starfield stuff outside the walls that you're standing in. And then a dialogue box pops up before you can do anything, and it reads, "This is the satellite Gaiala. There is no escape. You are in outer space. You are guilty of damaging the mother brain. You will be kept here until your death sentence is carried out." And then Tadorino starts one of his fucking patented inner monologues. He says to himself, or thinks to himself, "I tried to open the dams because I felt responsible for making too much rainfall, but I was caught. I don't want to die here not knowing who was trying to destroy Moda by using the mother brain." And upon hearing these ruminations emanating from her roll dog, Basic Instinct Sheer turns to him and says, "I don't think any of us want to die here regardless of what little knowledge nugget you're able to unearth, bro." So you are then able to try to preserve your life here, and you're able to move around. But each character has like those plasma rings around them at their waist, right? Like they're flashing white deals. Mm-hmm. And all your TP and belongings are gone. So you can't heal or anything. And you have no weapons. It's like, and actually in your inventory, I don't know if you went there and looked, but it says plasma rings in your inventory. Yep. And I think maybe prison clothes or something as well. So that's interesting that they put it in your inventory. And so you start walking around, and there's like these hazard tiles that clearly take 1 HP from you as you walk
Dragon
around.
Warrior. I was like, oh my gosh.
Right, yeah. So those are there, and then you do still get into battles, and like you get into a few of these, and like, you know, you're trying shit. You're like, I was trying to attack. You realize that you're only able to do 1 damage per attack, or rather, I don't think maybe you can do any damage actually, but they only do 1 damage to you. So I go through a few turns of that, and I'm like,
what?
Were they doing more than that to you?
I never experienced that because I would just run, and I would just run immediately.
See, I didn't think that's this. Yeah, right. So I go through a few turns of this first battle, and they're only doing 1. I'm like, clearly we're not supposed to be fighting here. Yeah, and I just run, and you realize that you can just run from these every time, right? So yeah, and it's always the same enemy too. It's what are they? The fucking like the gold version of one of the things that you're already had seen. It's like the second level of one of these fucking enemy.
Those
families.
Whistle little things or tracers or something.
Right, exactly. They look kind of like, they remind me of the Ninja Turtle things with the charged cords, you know, on the one wheel, the unicycle fucking robots.
I hate those things.
So you get across the hazard tiles in the starting hall, and then you turn a right through that doorway, and then everything stops. You hear an explosion, and then the dialogue box reads, Todd hears a large explosion and feels a tremendous force moving the satellite. Todd better check the control panel and fix the gate's orbit. And then everything starts flashing red, and an annoying car alarm sound starts up, and then you're just wandering, right? And whether you use the map, whatever, doesn't matter. You just get into the battles. They're 1 HP. You can run. It's kind of just bullshit. Mm-hmm. But eventually you work your way into an eastern room. It's basically the whole eastern side of the ship. There's one of those mainframe sprites in there. And inspecting it brings up a really cool computer screen showing an impending collision between the satellite and Palm. That's what's behind me right now. And when you first find this, the dialogue box reads, oh no, the satellite is headed straight for Palm. There's no time. What should I do? And then it cuts to one of Todd's dream sequences. And it was the same dream again. Over the top of that battle scene image we've seen a few times already. The beginning prologue thing had this image, yada yada. And then it cuts to a female face, maybe all done up, I don't know. And it says, help! And then it cuts to black, and then ellipses, question mark, exclamation. So confusion, I guess, is what we're supposed to glean from that.
I was very
and
confused.
And then it transitions to some guy that looks like his name would be Tyler, which is what his name is.
Yes.
Talking next to a grid-covered computer screen. I don't know. It's like... It makes me think of Master of Orion, which I don't think means anything to you, but it was that 4X game that Jab and I had as a kid. We played the shit out of. And like the news sequences, I don't know. There's just I don't know how to describe it. I'm not going to be able to communicate it, but it's just like, it's a thing of the time. It's an image of the time, like a computer interface trope, I guess, is the best way to describe it, of a 1990 futuristic computer situation. Yeah. Anyways, Tyler speaks to us here. He says, did I disturb you? I'm Tyler, a space pirate. I left Palm long ago. Life under the mother brain was not to my liking. You were being held by Gala, right? It's good for you that I happen to be close by. Your friends are also being revived right now. They should be awake at any moment. And then a planet pops up on the screen, the view of it from space. It appears no land masses are visible on it, just water, which is alarming if you're going to be need to be on it. All the land's gone. And it is terrible. This is all that is left of Palm. And then I believe the planet blew up, was my best interpretation. Is that what is happening there?
Yeah, it definitely.
Okay.
Definitely exploded.
All right. So one planet was destroyed. This is back to Tyler talking to us. One planet was destroyed. Who knows what happened to Algo? I don't know what to say. According to the news, you and your friends are criminals charged with destroying the mother brain. But I don't believe you could have done that. Could you? Anyway, I'll take you to Paseo. I've already got your belongings loaded. Ah, I remember now. You were heading for Dezo. I heard that there is someone there who can do things the mother brain can't. But he might be of a criminal nature. You never can tell. Well, until we meet again. And then the gang is auto-trotting through Paseo. Like, it just fucking transitions to that. And that peppy-ass town music is fucking playing like fucking nothing happened, you know? Nothing bad happened. And you head straight to the control tower to talk to our weirdo boss here. And he says, welcome back. I was worried sick about you. What? You're going to Dezo without rest? I see. You must have thought it out. Use the spaceship on the rooftop. But remember that you are still suspects. The Palm incident has made them desperate. Make sure you take care of yourselves. And then you are back outside the control tower, ready to blast off into the final frontier. And I don't know, it was like, it all seemed like just such lazy storytelling to me, you know, like you need to have this climactic event happen. You get captured. You're on this fucking satellite now. This terrible thing happens. And like, how do we get them out of here? I don't know. Some fucking space pirate just grabs them and saves them and brings them back to life and has all their belongings that were taken from them. You know, just fucking super, super lazy to me, as far as a solution for the intermediary between that and what will be the next story step. And even from that, we've been on the run. We already talked to this general guy, right? That's how we got back out to save the dams. Gave us
our marching orders and all that stuff.
Right. And wasn't the spaceship on the rooftop then?
Right?
You know?
People just never told us about it then.
Right. And I guess maybe that was like maybe he wanted us to do the thing that we went and did with the dams. I can't remember if he didn't really direct you. That's why we needed the fucking librarian. I don't think he actually directs you. He's just like, take care of yourself. I'm not going to arrest you because I trust you, even though you're wanted right now. He was just like telling you that you're wanted. I don't think he said anything about what he wants you to do or what you should go do. I think like,
fair. Either way, this is all still weird and convoluted, though. Like it still did. I was still confused about like, okay, I did all this stuff, and then I got captured. Stuff exploded, and
I wasn't sure. I thought they were talking about this planet.
Yeah, I thought this planet was. When we got there, I was like, what? I thought this just blew up. Like, what planet are we talking about then? I was very confused.
So yeah, I guess I still don't even understand. So this is Moda. He's talking about Algo. He says, I know what happened to Algo. So Algo was another planet. So you were heading for Dezo. So, okay. So I think...
So it was a different other planet that we were being...
Yeah, so maybe exactly. Maybe the idea is... Because I'm pretty sure all three of those planets, Algo, Moda, Dezo, are the three planets in the first game. So I think what they're doing here maybe is... suggesting that this is the fate that
of a
your
previous
home planet.
One. Okay.
Well, that could befall Moda if you don't act now. You know, like this is an example of one planet that's already completely murked. So this could happen to Moda next. So go, maybe you should act is maybe what to interpret from that. But yeah, I mean, that is requiring me to sit and look at this now in retrospect with the notes in front of me. When I was playing the game, I was like, I don't understand. I thought you meant the planet blew up. Yeah. That we just came from. So I guess we shall see how it goes. Let us now discuss the Bot Brigade in Bestiary Annals this time around. Jay, what do you got first? What's the first one?
The first one of these bots that I freaking hated to see is the Van. A weird name for a sprite that looks like a giant flying spaceship, like a flying aircraft carrier kind of. I don't even know what you'd call it, but it's huge. It has
cool, yeah.
Oh my gosh, it has 197 HP. You get freaking 1,259 XP for defeating it, 596 Meseta, and I mean, you find it in the Blue Dam, and it shoots cannons at you, and like that damage with no debuffs, it can be a pain. It can be a little painful.
And those would pair up too. They would pair those with something else that was
like the heavy solid or like one of the something else terrible. So like seeing that
with something else terrible, right? Yeah. No, yeah. Every battle on the back half of this episode, Sheer would cast that shield spell. I would have Anna cast the that fast equivalent, which is party wide, and then depending on the healing situation, I would have the Wrecker and Todd doing heal spells to start. So yeah, my whole first turn, 9 times out of 10, was fucking no attack happening at all. Just like preparing the party for what it has to do. Which is such a change an approach to this game. Well, my first one would logically be the Informer. And I mean, yeah, lick your boom boom down. Every time I see it, I don't know, that fucking guy ruined an entire word of the English language. That's incredible.
Yeah.
Is there anyone that hears the word Informer born before what 2004 that doesn't think of that song and him when they see that word? I definitely am not capable of it.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're a little, as far as how they look, they're a little R2D2-ish, though slightly more like upside down cone in their shape than a pure upside down bucket, but similar nonetheless. And the top part of them kind of looks like one of those old school Dr. Head mirrors spinning around the fucking circle things. And they are tier 2 of that Whistle Informer Tracer family. And they have 125 HP. They award 689 XP and 142 Maceta upon frag, and have a special attack that can reduce your defense. And the Tracers, interestingly, have weird numbers because they are only found on the satellite. As far like again, we were saying that we're that family. You're capable of offense in these cases, so their numbers are way lower. The ratio is 40-2. So you can't kill them, so they don't bother to give them anything to award you, and they have low HP. So that's probably the only family in the game where the third tier is less than the previous two, which is just an interesting anomaly statistically.
This is probably one of the few sets of enemies that I see now that I'm like, all right, if I have to fight you, fine, let's go. I'm not worried about you that much.
Every time. They are kind of the no big deal ones for sure. What's your second?
Second, something I definitely did worry about, the heavy solids. They are tier 2 of the eyesore heavy solid gun blast family. It's like a giant freaking AT-AT type of machine, cross between like an AT-AT and like RoboCop type of thing.
Okay. Yeah. Well, the fucking Ed 209.
Yes.
That's what you're. Yeah. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, these things are brutal, man. I mean, 190 HP, you get over 2,000 XP for defeating it, and 700 Maceta, so you actually get rewarded, which makes sense. You see it in both the green, yellow dams, and freaking laser beams, man. These beams, just brutal. Brutal. I hated seeing these things. Every time it came up, because I knew with Amy and Anna, like, I might be doing like 7-8 damage each time.
Yeah. Some of the defense on these fucking the really, we don't get the numbers of those either with our fucking Phantasy Star cave action here, unfortunately, because I would love to know what some of the defensive numbers are on these fucking on the really heavy duty ones, because they are serious.
You can tell by my weapon lack of damage for sure.
Yeah. My second one is also a bipedal mech. That's the Mecho Man, which is step 2 in its family. And these have I picked this because I really like the attack animation is fucking really cool. It stands up and like makes itself real big, like grizzly bear style, and then it launches ballistic missiles up and off the screen that come crashing down onto the party. So just, I mean, the reality of that is such a heavy duty attack mechanism,
The worst. These were the worst. Yeah. I hated seeing these.
Yeah, these are Red Dam Trollers, is where you find this particular of the family, and they had 65 HP, 627 XP, and then 138 Maceta. What's your third?
Third would also be a tier 2 monster, the Monster. These stands on 2 legs robot, but also has 2 arms, so huge. Of course, most of these robots are freaking huge. 195 HP, you get 1400 over 1400 XP, and 124 Maceta for defeating it, mainly in the green dam. Yeah, just another pain if I have to run into it and actually do battle.
Yeah. The third I went with was the Eyesore, which, cool name, I thought. It like alludes to, I don't know, it's like, an eyesore, like a clunky piece of technology in the corner. It's like an eyesore, which is just an interesting, funny choice, I think, with a little effort towards comedy, perhaps. But the sprites are these huge Decepticon-looking motherfuckers, insane armor, peeps maybe doing a third of the normal damage relative to a lot of other things when battling them. And their big brothers, the Heavy Solid, were, part of the catalyst in the Yellow Dam that sent me over to the wrecker. I just liked the Eyesore name more, even though they basically look the same. Yeah. Same ship brown color. And that's the thing, too. Like, the brown one, which is, like, the worst possible color scheme, is also the one that they call Eyesore, which is,
it fits.
All very funny within the spectrum of comedy for a fucking 1990 RPG. And they are the first stop in this big-ass mech family. It's them, Heavy Solids, and the Gunburst is the tier 3. And the last of which we haven't even encountered yet. Those are on Dezo, according to Mike's RPG PS Cave. So we have those to look forward to. And then by the numbers, they have 136 HP, 845 XP, and 462 Maceta. We now move into our Tales of the Grind. As far as random happening shit that I had happen, the only one I had was with Sheer, and because the thief, this is maybe gonna fucking blow your mind a little bit, so I don't think it can happen otherwise. But so I have her. I go to the Central Tower in Paseo to store some baggage after the Red Dam. So I don't remember what it was. I think I was trying to make room for Trimates maybe, and like trying to store some of that gear that I wasn't going to use or didn't need, but it was like special, and maybe I'd want to put it later on the party member that it's for. Whatever the reason was, I go to the fucking tower to do that with Librarian, and when I exited the tower, I got a dialogue box that read, "Hey, Sheer is gone," and then she was no longer in my party, and I'm like, what the fuck? What I was doing like such a mundane thing too, like that it was not like a story based thing. So to have, it was like just a dumb little maintenance thing I was doing, going to store luggage, right? So I go straight to my pad to see if she was there, and I get there, I walk in, and she is, thankfully. The dialogue reads, "Sorry to make you worry, but I felt the breezes calling, so I went for a little walk. Well, Todd, let's get going." And that's all she says. Doesn't explain herself at all. So I'm just like, okay, that was fucking weird. But whatever, she's back. Let's fucking go. And I just if this had not been what I was doing, I don't think I ever would have noticed. Or at least not noticed for a while. And I probably wouldn't have been able to connect it to this event by then. But I, by happenstance, was going to the item banana stand right after that to sell the shit that I wasn't storing, basically. And she had something in her inventory when I did that called the Visiphone. I presume you have not found this yet, right?
No,
or you don't have this?
Okay,
so it is just, you have to have her in your party for this to even fucking occur. And when you use it, it acts as a mobile data memory visit. So you can save and quit your game from anywhere. Like, not just in town, which obviously, if you're playing OG style, is a huge thing.
What?
Amazing. Fucking amazing, right? So, like, I don't know. Like, just... Well, two questions. One, is that the only time it's going to happen with her? She just gets is the implication there, I think, is that she just left and went and stole it from somewhere, right? That's what happened. She had a little, a heroin freak out, and this relapsed and went out and just, goes off and fucking does the shit that she just can't stop from doing. And she happened to acquire this super useful item. So one, is that going to happen again? But two, if you don't have her in your party, you never get this and never have that.
Never have that ability.
Immense convenience, So yeah, just a really, I don't know, man, obscure. With any of these games, it must be such a hard design decision to come up and put something that only a small percentage of players are going to find. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like, the idea of having that tailored of an experience is not a commonplace thing at this time, especially in these huge games like this. So, to me, it was just so jarring. Like a really, really surprising thing to have happen.
I mean, can you just could
so
I
that
just
was only random shit.
I mean, could I get her, level her up, go do that, give it to somebody else, and just go shelf her again? Like, is that a possibility?
Sure. But what do you have to do? Like, I don't know what I'm sure you can find it somewhere. Someone, I'm sure, has fucking, figured that out. But, what was the catalyst for it happening? You know what I mean?
You didn't see it? It's actually in the tip book. You didn't see it?
Oh, is it?
I could tell you. Yes.
I probably didn't. I just forgot. What is the thing?
When Sheer's level reaches 10, take her to the baggage room in the central town of Paseo. Sheer's a thief. I
can't believe I stumbled into. That's remarkable. The baggage room specifically.
Yep.
The baggage room specifically is crazy. It's not like I go and do that all the time. I don't go and store shit after every dungeon. I've
never stored stuff. I forgot we could do that until you just said it right now.
Right, exactly. So, yeah, that's even crazier that I just happened to stumble into that. But yes, it sounds like you could, for sure. So,
man,
it's an option. I mean, again, with save states, it's whatever. You don't really need it. But as a OG thing, that's some shit, that's some lunchroom fucking table tip eavesdrop stuff that is fierce, man. Can you imagine playing this game, bumping your head up against the wall, against all the fucking things this game presents to you, and then finding out you could have got some item that allows you to save whenever you want, and you don't have to deal with any of the, it's essentially a save state. It's a fucking 1990
Right?
save state.
It is.
If I understand it. I don't think I've used it, but I don't know if, like, maybe there are some limitations. You can't use it in dungeons, maybe only in the, I don't know, but for all intents and purposes, kind of a safe state.
Yeah, I mean, it feels like it would be. I mean, I would hope if you're this much into RPGs that you're playing this at this point, that you have at least one friend who is also into them, that you guys could compare notes. I hope that you would find
tip you off on this, right? Yeah. Huge deal. So, hero classified ad hires. We already talked about Sheer the Thief. We covered that exhaustively. And other than the possibility of Net returning, which seems a bit inevitable to me for a myriad of reasons, but other than that, I think we're done with new characters. One little note for my own party was the best equipment sitch I could math out for Codsworth when I rolled him into the fold before I picked up all those special things was the titanium metal for his melon, laser shot, ceramic armor, and just the boots for his tootsies. Those would most all get replaced by the damn stuff, but that was how I initially equipped him. I assume we already talked about. So your final party was what?
Agent, Rudo, Amy, and Anna. Until I inevitably replace Amy with the Wrecker.
Well, here's the thing now, Jay. You might have missed your opportunity because, like, I feel like his purpose was this chapter, in quotations.
You think
with
so?
These robots. We're not gonna. I mean, there might be. I'm sure there's some robots on Dezo, but I bet it's not all robots all the time, which is what his primary benefits would have been helpful for. Which is why. Yeah, I don't. I
think it might not be.
It might not be strategic too. Yeah, I mean, because what? Yeah, I'll be curious to see whether his real benefits. I mean, whatever his gun, he's high level. I'm sure he'll still do damage and shit. But like those techniques that he has, a lot of them are like hyper robot. They only if you look at the.
Oh, that's all robot stuff.
Yeah, and like and they actually like say they have a column that says this works on robots only, so and not biological enemies. So yeah, I imagine.
Good point. I didn't even think about that. I didn't even think about another world being actually completely different biome and
right.
robots. I just assume it's all robots now, right? Everywhere has only robots.
I mean, like I said, there are going to be robots just because that one random third. The eyesore family, that one's on Dezo, I saw. So there are robots there, but I'll be curious to see if it's all robots or if there's other stuff, or even if it's, mostly robots. I guess it would still be effective if it's mostly robots, but we shall see, I suppose. So for grinding shit, did you have any serious grinding things? I mean,
no,
I had
I didn't really grind.
Catch-ups,
like it was kind of like I planned on like grinding whoever I grabbed. But through the course of just doing the dams, the rest of my party only gained 2 levels, but this person went from 1 to 16. So I'm good. Like I didn't really have to go grind. Like I had enough just in crossing the landscape enough trying to get to my spaceship, or not my spaceship, but the scooter, to where I got to where I needed to and didn't really have to do that. So I'm kind of
same
okay.
for me. By the time so this is Control Tower. Right, I'm saying, and this is regarding getting Sheer of the Wind up to speed. By the time I sorted that music solution bullshit, I was at an 18, 17, 17, 14 ratio. So that's Agent, Guardian, Biologist, Thief.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, I mean, it's only 3 back of the rest of them, basically. Just in kind of like the natural flow of going through the Control Tower. So, yeah, impressive. I mean... And she was certainly competent at that point. That didn't require me to like do some dedicated grinding just for her.
Yeah.
And then for Codsworth, once I brought him into the fold, I just went back to the Red Dam and wrecked bots on the first floor until he was double digits. Which took, honestly, dude,
a few minutes.
Yeah, if that even. So yeah, I didn't do any real hardcore dedicated grinding stuff. And then Arcane Teachings. So we have. I really didn't get any new ones that weren't with the new characters. Like Anna didn't get anything, or sorry, Dime Piece didn't get anything, the Guardian, and Todd didn't get anything new either. That was like a new spell. I think he might have got some bullshit rehash thing that someone else had already had that just added to his spell book, but it wasn't like a new spell. But other than the Ryuka and Hinnis I already mentioned. For Sheer, she gets a res. That's a cool thing too that she can do. She can fucking resurrect on the fly, which is nice, of course.
What?
She gets that at 12, and then she gets a Jafoy at 15. So the second level fire spell, which is nice. And then so the Wrecker bot hack techniques. He's got a whole fucking folio of specific things that we hadn't seen. So these are all in the machine magics category, and in the manual these are described as, these were created during the research and development of new machinery. Bros and Kante magic damage computers so they can't control machinery. Ija corrodes machinery so that it falls apart. Forza makes machinery malfunction, and Rimet paralyzes machinery. So as far as the specifics go for each one of these, so Forza is a 2 MG, so that's 2 TP. What is that? I forget what the fucking middle one is now, and then G is group. Oh, metal, not machines, instead of biology or biological enemies. So this causes a mechanism's attack to fail, it's described as, and when it succeeds, the copy is, it was kind of fun to me, it says, the enemy name has gone insane, and it's fucking like, they just, I don't know, flip out and like kind of don't do what they're supposed to, I guess is the idea. And then Ija is a 4 MG slash, and this does damage of 23 to the enemy. Rimet is a 3 MS, so single enemies, not groups, and it halts mechanisms' moves, so I imagine just diminishes their mobility, their speed or something. And then Gage is a 1 MS, so again, I told you, like, super low TP on all these, dude. Like, the highest one, with the exception of this Nagage, he gets at the last one. It's all like 2, 4, 3, 1, 6, 5, 3, so super low TP charges for each one of these. But Gage does a damage of 20 to the enemy. Conti is a 6 MS, and this prevents the mechanism from making special attacks. And the dialogue when you cast this on something reads, the enemy name is Quiet. So that's super clutch too, because all these fucking things have special attacks. And I can't remember which one it was that I used this on in one of those dams, but it worked for one, which is nice. You know, you don't always necessarily expect that it's going to, but two, it was a huge help, because whatever the fuck this thing was, it was really fuck with my life. So that's a good one that I ended up using quite a bit. And then we get a Gigage, which is the second level of Gage, of course, and this is just goes from 20 to 60 on the damage. And then Sag is a 3 MA, so area damage, and it does damage of 20 to the enemy. All of them, as opposed to just a group or a single one. And then Nagage is the third level of that Gage family, and this is a 15 TP spell. It only works on a single enemy, but it does Nufoy tier damage, 150 per. And then I lied, actually. Todd got Nathu at 20, and this is it's another way to do 150 damage in addition to Nufoy. But it takes 20 fucking
that's a lot.
Technique points, for sure. But those really high level ones, though, when you do decide to use those, like, they are reliably doing that kind of damage, which is nice, you know. So
yeah, I totally forgot that. Like, during this whole playthrough, man, like I said, because it's been so long, and I just remembered, like, oh, I had strong weapons. Like, and I think I might have even read something that said, like, oh yeah, your weapon should be sufficiently strong enough to not use tech. So I was like, I completely forgot that I had, like, freaking Nufoy and that kind of stuff that actually would do presumably well over 100 damage when my sword on some of these robots is doing like 17.
Doing bullshit.
Yeah, I'm like, ugh.
No, yeah, I cannot stress enough how much more pleasant this game got in this section once I decided to, again, really highly strategize and not just fucking, you know.
But that's the trade-off, though. You
do the dumb thing.
You were actually fighting them. I ran most of the time, probably 75, 80%, probably 85% of the time I was running. So, like, that's why, like, my agent only gained 2 levels this whole time during all of these dams, all of these everything. You know.
To be honest with you, I mean, I don't know. I guess we'll be curious to hear what our status updates are and where we fall, how far apart we are. But I felt like I didn't level up him very much either. I mean, like I said, I guess I got to 20.
Wow, that's 2 more than me. That's impressive.
Okay, so yeah, I was at 18 at the control tower. So okay. I guess I did level up a little bit, but I felt like it wasn't a ton. Maybe it was just because comparatively I was leveling up those new people so damn much that it seemed lesser. You know. turn our attention to the Phantasy Star 2 hint book. Walk our way through what we played for this ep. Jay, read to us about the control tower.
One of the 3 control towers in Piata is linked to the underground dungeon. There are control towers in the 7 towns of Moda. A passage is linked to the underground dungeons, is located in one of the control towers. Check out the 3 control towers in Piata and you will find the passage to the underground dungeon. Remember, your enemies are all robots now.
Duh. Look at those fucking maps. So many teleporters. LOL.
Ugh, gross.
Ridiculous. Like, to look at it in macro is just ridiculous how many teleporters there are.
Just looking at that, I'm like, immediately, yep, I'm just like, the visual of having to stare at this and try to figure out how do I get to the center from here. Oh my gosh,
Not
dude.
pleasant.
Oh my gosh.
Not pleasant. Not pleasant. Even their description of how to successfully navigate is confusing.
Yes.
You know, partly if it's just translation fuckery, but also because they're just so one note. You know,
yeah.
Like I could have used that music flowchart explainer for sure, though. Would have been nice to have at my disposal right when I first fucking got going. So the next thing is like a kind of an aside, I don't know, strategy section that's not about a specific place, and it is titled Cautions when you go to the dam. And this goes, the 4 dams up ahead are more difficult dungeons, and the enemies are also very strong, so pay attention to our hints and advice. And they have a section they start with, who are the best companions to explore the 4 dams with? And they say, when you defeat Nev first, your enemies turn to robots from biomonsters. Your companions should also be changed so that you can combat the robots. You now have 7 companions after defeating Nev first. We recommend Rolf, Rudo, Kane, and Anna. So that's what? That's Agent, Hunter, Wrecker.
That would be my party,
and
minus
Anna.
Amy. Swapping Amy out for the Wrecker.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
So yeah, that's way off. Way far from where I chose to go with. Sheer is definitely not mentioned. Your task will be hard if the levels of Kane and Anna are low, so we would advise you to improve their levels at an early stage. As if that doesn't happen automatically. Okay. And then they tell you your companions as outfits and medical supplies, which isn't really a sentence, but they tell you the hardest places on your trip on Moda are the green, red, blue, and yellow dams. Your opponents at the dams are stronger than the biomonsters. Go to the hospital and recover your strength before leaving for the dams. Take as much Trimate as possible, which is a good recommendation. Hugh and Anna can make a double-fisted attack if they have a weapon in each hand. It would be a good idea to have a laser sword to Rolf, a laser cannon to Rudo, a laser knife or laser shot to Hugh, and a laser slasher to Anna. Give them highly protective outfits, attack mainly with the weapons, and only use technique when it is sure to be effective. And then here they tell you this huge thing about the fucking Sheer thing I forgot I read. So yeah, when Sheer reaches level 10, take her to the baggage room in the central tower of Paseo. Sheer is a thief. Include her in your companions, which is directly opposed to what I told you to do on the previous page.
This was so confusing to read, all of this. I'm like, you told me to take these 4, but then you told me, oh, Hugh can do this, and then Sheer can do this. So I'm like, I was so confused by this whole page. I'm like, whatever, I'm just going to do what I want.
Definitely a little convoluted. Sheer suddenly disappears, and you find her at your home. She always returns with something, but the things she steals are different depending upon her level. So this happens multiple times. Take her to the baggage room of the central tower in Paseo, where her level reaches 10. When her level reaches 10, She steals a Visiphone, which you can use to save your game anywhere. The Visiphone cannot be bought. It can only be stolen by Sheer in Paseo. It is a very convenient item for your adventure at the dams. I bet.
I'm pretty sure that's how she showed up at your house in the first place. She got wind of this person going around doing stuff, and she was like, you know what? I heard there's like some hot items over down in when we go here. So if I just
he's gonna take me places where I can really she is not, I don't think, veiled about that. When her opening dialogue is basically like, your shit sounds like it'll be cute and interesting, I'm gonna go do whatever with you. What's up?
She knew what she was doing from the beginning.
Right, for sure. I said that from the beginning. Very, very assertive young woman. The Red Dam is first up, Jay.
The Red Dam The first dam you tackle is the Red Dam. It is the easiest dam of the 4. The nearest town to the Red Dam is Zima. Enter the Red Dam through the inlet of Roran. The Red Dam is 3 levels high. The main computer, which is your destination, is located in the center of the 2nd level. Be careful of Whistle, which you meet often before reaching the Red Dam. And I will say, because of this, I was like, oh, when will I face Whistle? And I'm like, Whistle's a little bitch, man. What are we even talking about?
Whistles are bullshit.
Right?
Yeah, tell me about those fucking monster things that that are gonna send me with my tail between my legs to go to get the wrecker.
Right.
Tell me about those, not the fucking whistles for sure. Yellow Dam is next. Yellow Dam has 4 levels. The Yellow Dam is closer to Curie. It is closer for you to reach the Yellow Dam from Curie. The Yellow Dam has 4 levels. It's fucking repeating itself over and over again.
Right.
Broken record. The main computer, which is your destination, is located at the center of the 3rd level. Check the map before proceeding because the Yellow Dam is more complicated than the Red Dam. Be careful when using the chute or using a chute. They tell you it's like their solution for everything. Or their like recommendation for every single thing is to tell you to not to get lost. Like that's what they tell you for every one.
Just don't get lost. Know where you are.
Yeah,
be careful.
Yeah,
yep.
Like obviously, motherfuckers. That's give me some more helpful fucking intel than that. Blue Dam is next.
Blue Dam. The rest of your adventure on Moda are the last 2 dams. Of the 4 dams, the Blue Dam has the most levels. The Blue Dam is a 5-level dam, and you will often get lost in here. Also.
Yep.
Also, your enemies are stronger and it will be more difficult to escape from them. Try to save your energy until you approach the main computer. And this only reinforced my running strategy. I was like, you're telling me run, run, run? That's what I'm doing.
I didn't think it was possible. And I'm also like, I don't want to have to do dedicated grinding, so I'm all about like trying to combine those endeavors and hopefully be able to fucking survive. I have maps. I should be able to make it. Like once I start using maps, I should be able to make it and not fucking run from things. So that was my logic for that. The Green Dam is last. It is the most convenient to go to the Green Dam from Paseo. The Green Dam is your last destination. Something will certainly happen to you here.
Something will happen. That was the most hilarious thing
finally,
to me. I'm
finally.
like, oh,
yes, something's finally going to happen. Thank fucking God. The main computer of the Green Dam is located in the center of the 2nd level. This dam is very large, and there are many chutes. Remember, always know where you are. Doing my best. I'm doing my best, hint book, rather. Doing my best. Tell us about Gaiara.
Gaiara. What will happen to them in Gaiara? Can you escape from Gaiara while being unable to fight? You fought against Army Eye at the Green Dam and were locked in the Gaiara satellite by them. Army Eye took all of your weapons, armor, and other items. You are also bound with Plasma Ring and cannot fight your enemies and can only escape from them. When you look for the exit of Gaiara, the alarm sounds. The Gaiara orbit aims toward Palm. You are saved by the space pirate, Tyler, when Gaiara almost crashes into Palm, and you are taken back to Paseo on Mota.
So almost. It didn't actually crash into it. So maybe it was?
Then why does it say Palm explodes next to there?
Yeah, great question.
I don't know.
Fantastic. Fantastic question. And the last thing is bopping back into Paseo Town. Leave Paseo for your 2nd adventure. To your surprise, there is a spaceport in the central tower in Paseo. Again, even the hint book is surprised that this hasn't been revealed to us by this fucking guy. Meet the commander of Paseo, who will tell you about Dezo. He will also tell you that a spaceport is located on the roof of the central tower. No one knows what is on Dezo. Recover your strength before leaving for the spaceport. Take plenty of medical supplies.
Uh-oh.
So, yeah, that suggests that I don't know. You're not gonna have an opportunity. Like you're not gonna go to a town before whatever shit we get into on Dezo. That's alarming to hear.
Well, I mean, you're in town right now, so
Right, sure, but my assumption would be we would go to Dezo and it would be like a new planet. We would find a new town and like get some more intel about what we're supposed to do and yada yada yada. Not just like jump right into some shit would be my hope. But I guess. We won't know till we get there. That is definitely what we're doing, though. There's nothing else to do but go to Dezo, so there's not hard to ascertain what happens next. Status update! What was the final level ratio for your party?
So, my agent is at level 18. So I'm 18, 18, 18, 16. So everybody except everybody except Anna is at level 18 right now. So 2 levels gained by everybody collectively since the last episode, which is surprisingly low considering all that we did, but considering also at the same time all the running and the fact that it's like, 20,000 XP each level now and escalating, that kind of makes sense. So.
All the more reason to not run from things. Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at my ratio, and it's a huge gap. 21, 20, 19, 17.
Oh, wow.
That's Agent, Guardian, Thief, Wrecker. So 3, I guess, I was way off on my estimation that I hadn't leveled up a bunch with the Agent. I guess he went up 3 at least over the course of this. If not 4, I don't remember where I started. Tell us where, what is it, Gentle Ma? Is that what he is? Or what's...
I don't think he's Gentle Ma here. I think he's just Gent. No, he's J.
Gent.
He's J. He's J here.
Okay, copy. Give us his stats.
So J, I have 146 HP, 68 TP. That face tells me that you have less than that. I'm very excited to hear.
It's fucking stupid. It's fucking stupid how this is a continuing theme.
121 strength, 108 mental, 77 agility, 101 luck, 95 dexterity, 190 attack, 166 defense. And I have, since I'm way much lower level than you, over 78,000 XP.
Okay, my HP, Todd's HP, is 140. So I'm 3 levels.
Wow, dude. What?
And have 6 less HP. Everything else makes perfect sense. My TP 75, my strength is 140, my mental is 135, agility 101, luck 118, dexterity 114, attack 215. My defense is a little lower, but that's because I have made that switch to the Ango sword, or Sword of Ango, so I had to forego that defensive 18 that added. So Everything else makes total sense. But that HP thing is a real motherfucker, man. What is up with that?
That's crazy, dude.
What is fucking up with that fucking deficiency? Shit hit dice for Todd, apparently. Not proficient at leveling up. Well, that is where we fall here. We are, like I mentioned in the opening, we are 2/3 of the way through the hint book now. So, if nothing else, we are not going to spend nearly as much time on Dezo and wherever else we may journey in the solar system and or beyond. Which, I guess, at least we got that going for us.
We shall see.
Whatever happens. So you can subscribe to the pod on the platform provided, whatever dumbass company that does serve up your pottery. Please rate and leave positive shit for the pod on whatever platform you do listen to us on. If you enjoy what we're doing here, the website is nyehentertainment.com/ISOHpod. Email us directly at isohpodcast@gmail.com. You can follow the pod and banter with us on the Facebook page, the Instagram, the subreddit, and talk shit to us about our gameplay videos on the YouTube. Links to all those will be in the show notes. We do not have a Patreon, but if you'd like giving money to things podcasters tell you to, like do so in our direction. The Able Gamers Foundation creates custom gaming rigs for gamers with disabilities. That's cool as fuck. AbleGamers.org is where you can find them. T-shirts are on the website. They're dope, and proceeds on those after pod expenses go to Able Gamers. Jay, how can people reach you and discuss Phantasy Star 2 and maybe anything else?
Gentleman JB without the second E. That is pretty much where you can find me on the socials when I feel like posting there. But that's also my gamer tag. Come invite me to a game. Let's get it on.
Yeah, I've kind of, I actually moved Twitter off my home screen and into a folder. I don't really use it, especially since I quit the Bill. The Twitter was essentially my entire audience and social community on Twitter was basically just this Buffalo Bills anger hive. And because I have quit NFL football for good, I don't need to engage that community anymore. So I just moved that out of there. So I don't really use Twitter anymore. I am on there at Josh Folan, but I am definitely using Blue Sky as my text-based communication medium almost exclusively now. And that's I think, again, I don't exactly understand, but I think it's just niaentertainment.com is what you would type as like my username to find me on there. So find me on Blue Sky, and then my Instagram is myshiftyisbroke. I haven't joined, despite everyone being angry at Meta. I haven't quit Meta, like everyone apparently is doing now too. But so you find me on Instagram there, and then my Oculus tag is myshiftyisbroke. Also, if you want to keep me from breaking my hand on my dining room table playing Metro and play fucking Walkabout or something. Okay, bye.